I've seen that countless of times where people identify themselves as the fan of a sports team, right? That they're not employed by.
Hmm.
It's just their favorite team, and it turns into like full blown arguments and fights
Yes.
over a sports team. I'm a die hard, fill in the blank, and I'm like, wow, man. To the point where some of their actions, they almost like lose some of their humanity over something as, something like the over identification with a sports team
Hmm.
or a city, I'm from X state, X city, I'm from X projects. Like that place is bad. It's filled with a lot of crime. Like
Yes.
like that's your pride,
Hmm.
right? But the point that we're making is that when you identify strongly and emotionally connected with something, you start to take on certain characteristics and personality and traits
Yes.
that it causes you to behave in a certain manner. Similarly with titles, ranks, billets,
Everything.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if we're promoting the artistry of life that is encouraging every human being to take ownership, authority over your own life, and now start to challenge your human limitations.
Mm.
Start to challenge the things that people say you can't do, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because you're whatever identification. Start to challenge your own beliefs, your own thoughts, and
Mm.
push those boundaries. Like, well, what if, right? Like I wasn't limited or bounded by. And history has shown countless people that did that.
Yes.
Anyone that's ever did anything spectacular in history, that's exactly how they did it. They challenged the limitations and the
Mm.
status quo that was placed upon them or placed upon people. Like man can't sail around the world. Okay,
Mm.
well, let me try.
See.
Let's see about that.
Yes.
Right? If I don't make it, I don't make it. But what do you know? I happen to make it.
Yes.
Right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that mentality and that level of consciousness is what makes life beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if we take it back another step where someone is religious or they're spiritual and they're like,
Ooh.
no, I'm a spiritual being and I believe in God or, Allah or, the nature,
Mm-hmm.
and ancestors. Like, okay, if you believe in whatever it is that you believe in,
Yes.
and then you're like, so I'm spiritual, and or I practice this religion to cultivate. So you do recognize that you're a spirit.
Mm.
Where's your identification in that? How do you identify with that, right? And how do you identify with that? And what type of limitation is your spirit limited or is it unlimited? Like, how do you define
Yes.
what are the characteristics of that spirit that dwells inside of you? Have you ever
Yes.
investigated that? Is it limited because of this body,
Mm-hmm.
or is it, or can I go Zen mode and become unlimited or get deep in prayer where I can now, push some, right? Like, so I think these are in place to like give us these questions. I mean, I'm asking rhetorically
Mm-hmm.
for us to now start broaden the way we think and like, no, man, push your limitations and like,
Yes. Yes.
and see how much further can you go, right? Because it's in that where true development lies, right?
Yes.
It's in there, and and like we said about identity, then you start to see the pattern of the less things that I kind of identify with, or if I use those identification markers as just reference points,
Mm.
right? Like I have this, I have that. Yes, I have this title, I have this billet, I have this, right? But it doesn't define me, and it doesn't
Yes.
have to define me, right?
Yes.
Because the person who I am intrinsically have the authority to define, right? Like who I'm going to be, right? Like,
Mm.
and what I can do and what I can't do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching our videos. If you're enjoying the content you're seeing, go ahead, click that subscribe button, and stay tuned for what we got coming up next.